All right. We are live.
We are live.
We are live.
Yay.
Welcome in, Simply Jan Homestead. So today we're going to talk about some healthy foods. We're going to just chit chat a little bit before we get started, wait for a few more people to come in, and then we'll start on our subject for the evening. But tomorrow we're going to Pinecone Fest. So we're getting up in the morning. My mom's driving here, and we're going to put her stuff in the camper, and we're going to leave from here.
How far a drive is it for you?
It's about, I think it's about 4 hours, four and a half hours, I think. So that's what we've pretty much got it loaded. We'll probably put a few more things in there tonight. Hello, the Bud Files. Welcome in. Hello, Walter Davis. Welcome in.
Hello, Walter Davis. Haven't seen you in a minute.
Yeah. So if you guys can hear this, if you will share this out on your community tab to help us get a few more people in here, that would be awesome.
Definitely.
Trying to think of what else. Trying to think of what else I did today. We just mainly stayed here and did things in the house, just cleaning, getting things prepped and ready for the trip. Mostly we did that, and hubby worked a little bit on some stuff. I kind of stayed home all day. I didn't really.
Well, I had the grandbaby.
Oh, I made a video. I did make a video.
I had her since Sunday morning. So I had her Sunday night and Monday night and then all day today. So I'm tired. I was ready
I
for
bet you are.
to get her.
What was your first day? What day did you come back?
We came back Saturday afternoon.
Okay.
And I was
tell everybody in the chat where you live.
Oh, we live in South Georgia, and Hurricane Helene decided to pay us a visit, and it's still really devastated here. So many people still without power, and trees down on the power lines, and it's a mess. But we stayed here for 4 days without power, and then my sister said she would put us in a hotel if she could find one, and we had to go an hour and a half away from home in order to get a room. And so we were there from Monday through Saturday, and then we came home Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. Well, I saw you guys got out and about and went to some stores and did.
Yeah, I mean it was like an unplanned, unwanted vacation, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we had very little to do, and the town we stayed in was itty bitty tiny town, so we kept having to go up the interstate to try to find bigger towns and more things to do. But we had a good time.
Hi, Jamie.
Under the circumstances.
Yeah.
Hi, Simply Kate.
I noticed you had another giveaway on the books.
For tomorrow.
I was like, wow, there's a lot of giveaways coming up.
And I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. When we were on the trip, he bought the Pokemon trick or treat cards. You get a whole box of them, and there's like 30 packs in there, and there's 3 cards in each pack. And I guess Pokemon made them for people who didn't want to give out candy, that they could give out the Pokemon cards. But anyway, we're going to give one of those boxes away. So somebody will get some trick-or-treat Pokemon cards, which they're actual regular Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
It's just packaged for trick-or-treat.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids, that age that do collect. I know my daughter collected them, I think, when she was younger.
Yeah.
I think we bought like the binder or whatever for her to put them in. I don't remember ever buying. Well, maybe we did. I don't remember. I don't remember what we did. It's been a few years.
Dave collects baseball cards mainly, but he decided he wanted to start collecting these Pokemon cards, and then we found out that they were having those for Halloween. So, hi, God is Great. God is Great is all the way from Japan.
Japan, wow.
Hi, Indiana Backyard Gardener.
Hi, Adrian. So So pretty much I'll be leaving for Pinecone Fest. I have a live at some point tomorrow. I set a time on it, but it's really just whenever it's like an okay time to do it, like between trips, between stops in the car, or in the truck. So we pretty much got it loaded. We still have a few more things to put in there, but
And how many days is that for?
Wednesday through Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
trip.
that's good.
So Echo and I decided we were going to talk about some healthy foods, and maybe Echo can explain kind of about her for the people in my chat that don't know, like
Okay.
what happened to you. If you feel like explaining that to people,
Okay.
they can understand.
I'm a really bad diabetic, been diabetic for close to 30 years. And I had to make a decision to have weight loss surgery because I was topping out on all the medication and we weren't getting my sugar under control. So I had the weight loss surgery. Actually, today is 3 months since I had it done.
Mm.
And I've lost 55 pounds, and I will continue to lose for the first year. And then in that second year, about half of the second year, I'll still lose, but it'll be like a pound a week. It'll be slower. And then I'll get to where I have to maintain it. So that's where the healthy eating has really come in for me, that I'm learning all the things nutrition wise to make myself be able to live that healthier lifestyle and eat the better, healthier food.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn about protein. I never knew. I thought protein was the same as any other kind of food. I never knew that your body really has to have that protein to function properly. And so I've learned now that you have to eat really high protein foods and fill up on those. And then if you want anything else, you can still have it, but in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
So with my weight loss surgery, they give us a binder, and there's all these healthy recipes that they give you for things that you'll need to be eating when you're starting out on the weight loss part of it. Hi, Shirley.
Mm. Hi, Katie. And thank you, Katie, for your membership. So I don't know if you renewed it, but anyway, it was sitting there at the top of the chat. You know how when you start a live, if somebody's
Uh-huh.
become a member, it'll put it at the top of the chat. So it did that earlier. I was like, thank you.
um,
So give them some examples of some of the protein things that you eat. And then I wrote down some things too, but I'm gonna let you talk, and then I'll just kind of slip my stuff in between yours
okay.
because I'm sure your stuff is different. But
There's recipes where you can make chips or crackers out of cheese. And there's a really good one in here with using cheese and pepperoni. And you just like bake it in the oven until it gets melty and crispy. What is this?
Set.
Okay, but I'm not doing it now.
Put them somewhere, Cons. They're stacking out quickly.
Um,
That sounds kind of like a keto recipe.
yeah, it is because it's just the protein out of the chips and the cheese. And then I learned how to make a chawaffle, which is the cheese, like a cheese waffle.
Yeah,
But
like Just
it's
Jason Keto, like
yeah,
that one. Yeah.
and it's where you can put whatever kind of meat you want into it, but you can also make them out of chicken, like canned chicken, and the cheese, and make it, so it's more protein like that. A lot of the things like eating eggs, like hard boiled eggs, or adding eggs to your tuna salad and your chicken salad and things like
Yeah,
that.
I do eat eggs in mine.
And then we have a powder protein that is tasteless, odorless, colorless, and we can add that into things. And like I make a protein ranch dip that has, I use half non fat yogurt and half light sour cream. And then I add a scoop of the protein powder in there and then the ranch powder and mix that all up. And you can't tell the difference. And my granddaughter loves eating cucumbers and dipping it in that ranch. And I'm like, hey, she can eat all that protein ranch that she wants, because she is getting good protein out of that.
That's good. That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Spaghetti squash. Yeah, that'd be good for spaghetti. And also, Jan was talking about zucchini making. I did that. I took my shredded zucchini that was in the freezer. I thawed it out. I put it in a strainer and let the juice off and squeezed it out. And I cooked it in a pan. And then I made spaghetti, like regular spaghetti, and put it on top of it in place of spaghetti. And you know what? I couldn't tell the difference. And
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about the consistency or anything because in my mind, I knew what it was. It's something familiar, squash. And it was cooked. So I thought it was great. And I ate it. And that was good. So,
Yeah. They have a recipe here for beef stuffed zucchini boats.
mm-hmm.
And you're basically using the zucchini as the holder and putting your beef and cheese and sauce and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that you want in there.
I've seen somebody do that before. Maybe Jan.
Yeah. You
I
can make they're like little quiches, but they're with no crust, but it's like a little egg cup that you can make, and you can put any kind of vegetables in that you want. You can put bacon or sausage or, and of course I try to use turkey bacon and turkey sausage. But you can use, whatever you want with that. But you're just trying to add the protein to whatever it is that you're eating.
Oh, yeah.
I particularly love soup. And that was one thing when they said I could have creamed soups. But if you look at cream soup, there's not very much protein in there. And
Mm-hmm.
so I said, well, I need to up the protein. So I make it with adding my protein powder to it. And then I also will put some meat in there. Like if I make cream of mushroom soup,
Yeah.
I'll add a can of chicken to it. And then I'll put the protein powder in there as well. And
So
then that
that's
way it
one
has
thing
more.
I think to make things healthier is if you make your own stuff.
Yeah.
So if you buy powdered ranch dip, it has a bunch of extra stuff in it. But if you make it yourself, you know how much everything that's in there and how much salt and how good the products are, it's my own dehydrated dill. And then I make my own taco seasoning.
Yeah.
And because the regular taco seasoning has potato starch and a bunch of things you can't pronounce. So I
Hmm.
started making these as healthy options. So when I have tacos, I have my own. And when I want something with ranch, I have my own. So that's the kind of stuff you can do to make things healthier. Make some of your own mixes and put all your stuff out on the counter and fill your jar all the way up. And that way you have it for longer.
And you can even make, like if you want to make brownies, for instance, you can make your own brownie mix. You don't have to buy the store-bought,
Mhm.
package of
Yeah.
brownie mix. You can make it yourself, and you can add protein powder to the brownie mix and make
Yeah.
protein brownies. Because that protein powder, you can't taste it or feel it or anything. I mean, it just goes into whatever you put it into. Um, it's not as easy on with drinks, putting it into a drink. You have to kind of put a little water with it and kind of dissolve it a little bit before you would put it into a shake or something, because you don't want it to be clumpy and it might not get dissolved all the way. So when you put it in there, it's easier. What is she saying about her chickens?
Her chickens laid in her raised bed instead of where they were supposed to.
Oh,
Char of heart. Hello, hello.
another good thing that they taught us to do was to take the cottage cheese
Thank you.
and do like a taco bowl, and you put your
Avocado.
taco meat and your taco toppings or whatever in there with a little bit of cottage cheese and mix it up and eat that. Or even pizza bowl, you can do the same thing. And then you also can blend your cottage cheese and add it to things. And now they're having all kinds of recipes. You can make bagels out of cottage cheese. You can make, regular sandwich type bread. You can make like a flatbread for a wrap. You can just do all kinds of things, and you can make all kinds of desserts more higher amounts of protein by adding the blended cottage cheese as well.
Yeah, I would try
And
that.
using the non-fat Greek yogurt, that will give you extra protein as well. I buy a certain kind of yogurt that has like 28 grams of protein in it. Um, and that's a lot of protein for one serving of the yogurt.
Yeah,
Hi,
I have
Isabel
some in the
Sutton.
refrigerator, but
Hi,
I cannot remember
Mildred.
what I bought it for. I was like, what did I buy the yogurt for?
I'm sorry, I'm not good at paying attention when I'm doing
Lois.
this. Um, Simply Walks Katie, she said, I'm on Monjero. I've lost 90 pounds. I had to change my whole way of eating. Exactly. I took Monjero for a short period of time to help with my diabetes. Unfortunately, I didn't lose a lot of weight with that.
Is Monjero like Ozempic or is that different?
Yeah, it's in that same family.
Okay.
Yeah. I bought this little
You're
book.
getting hungry talking about food. Jan's getting hungry.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
dinners that are only 300 calories, and they do have carbs in them. They're not all, just high
well,
protein.
I get a cookbook and I'll try to convert it to the kind of plan I want to eat on. So
Right.
even the low cholesterol book that I had, I bought a low cholesterol cookbook. My husband bought it because they said he was on the borderline. And so I bought that and I made a really good spinach black bean enchiladas.
Yeah,
And
those look delicious.
it was really good. And I've added that to the menu and we're going to start having that more regularly. We both really liked it. And there was no meat in it.
Yep.
It's like, I wonder if I could find enough recipes to do a meatless Monday every once in a while. Just, because I think that's where some of the cholesterol is in the meat, right? Isn't it?
Right.
I don't know.
In the animal fat. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So,
Hi, Stitching It Up. How are you doing?
but
This book,
anything I do for him, also I do for me. And I mean, we eat the same thing. If I'm eating healthy, he's eating healthy. If I'm not eating healthy, he's also not eating healthy. So,
one of the things with my weight loss surgery, I want to say I was on 19 different prescriptions and on 3 shots. And I wanted to get off of a lot of that medication. And as I've been losing the weight, I've been able to get off of some of it. But I used to be the kind of person, if my doctor said, okay, you need this prescription for whatever you're complaining, is bothering you, this prescription will fix it. I would just go ahead and take the prescription. I wouldn't even look at the side effects of
yeah,
that particular
yeah.
drug.
I have turned things down before and I've looked at like, what is this really going to do for me? Is
Right.
this going to
So,
help my way of life or hinder my way of life? And I'm not the most compliant patient ever because, I'm all like, well, why are you asking me if I need a shingle shot? I've never had chicken pox. Why are you asking me that? I'm like, I'm not a follow along.
yeah. Well, I'm
That's
not anymore. I'm like, isn't there a food I can eat that would do that? Or aren't there certain foods that will help me with that problem? I don't want to be taking any medicine. And that's another thing I noticed right away when I started getting off of some of the medicine, all the side effects of like how quick I felt better not having those drugs in my system. But I got this book, Nutrition 101. And let me tell you something, it covers every system in your body and it tells you exactly what vitamins and minerals will help you with whatever problem in that system of your body. And it also gives you a very good list of what foods to eat that have those particular vitamins, minerals in them so that you're not just taking a whole bunch of supplements, that you're
Yeah,
actually
there's a
using
lot
the
of
food.
food cures out there. Things in our food that can. I mean, God created the food to make our body right, and it's not until we started putting in the unnatural things people were making that we started to get overweight and have problems. So our problems came by having convenience foods. That's
Right.
where our problems.
Hey, Mimi. Um, Another thing too is that when you grow your own food, you know what chemicals you put on that food if you've had to use any kind of, any kind of chemicals, or what you use for your fertilizer and all of that. And so you know what you're eating. When we buy food at the grocery store, we don't have a clue what has been done to that food, or how long has it been picked before it gets to us.
Yeah. Do you have any place to do any gardening?
I
I
only
know
have
you
my
live in an apartment.
patio.
I was going to say, do you have like a balcony or something where
We're on the ground floor, and I do have a patio, and I'm going to look into the, I forget what it's called,
the green stock?
but it's a
Yeah.
vertical type system.
Yeah.
It doesn't take up a whole lot of space this way, but it goes way high.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I knew what they were called.
Green stock. Yeah, they call it a green stock.
They were seemed like I thought some other name, but anyway. But that I'm going to try to do containers, and I'm going to try to be able to do things
Yeah,
like
you
that.
can do a lot of food in a small space.
Yeah, this year, with doing the weight loss surgery and everything, I didn't have time to get it together and time to get it planted when it needed to be planted. And then I was raised in Indiana, so I really don't know in Georgia when you're supposed to plant things. So I've got to educate myself before I can start planting things.
Yeah, you just need to look up when your, to know when your last frost date is and when your first frost date is. That's the kind of information you need to know. That's what you need to look up. And it'll tell you your zone, and that'll tell you when to plant things. And you can even follow that from your pack, Plus, the pack itself has color coding. And if you know kind of where you are in Georgia, you can kind of pinpoint that. It'll tell you a color, and that kind of gives you an idea. That's how I did it for a lot of years, until YouTube came along and they're like, oh, you have a zone. What? I have a what?
I'll tell you what, from watching all the homesteading channels, I have learned so much that, I watched my dad have a garden every year. And to me, he would plow up the dirt, he would put the seeds in, then we would weed it, and then we would have the food. So I don't know of all the stuff you have to do actually to have, growing your own food.
Yeah.
But I want to do it.
Yeah. A lot of it, what I really learned the most from YouTube is how to amend your soil every year so that next year, because I have some raised containers, big shipping containers my husband got. They're wooden and big, and he drilled holes in the bottom so the water would drain out. So, and then I painted it and then kept filling it. And it's not all the way full yet, but I did that on purpose because I want to have room to be able to keep amending the soil. So I put things like crushed eggshells, coffee grounds, and I'll go ahead and throw the filter in there, shredded paper, chicken manure. I'm sure there's banana peels, other things like that. So there's a few things, and I add those things to my soil now. And then when it comes time for me to plant, hopefully those things have broken down enough. And then what I usually do is I go to the other side of the yard where I've been composting for a while, and I drag some of that and put a nice layer on top. Where I usually would have put the soil from Walmart, I'm hoping to do less of that next year and actually have some of my own homegrown soil that I've been working on. Oh, and leaves. My husband runs over the leaves when he's mowing the lawn, and it breaks them up. And that also puts nitrogen down into your soil. So that's another thing too. Right. But it helps if they're broken down a little bit.
And there's just a lot of things that you can do to make it healthy soil without spending a whole ton of money on buying.
All the things I just got through are things you already have. You already have eggs. So you save your eggshells. You can use your eggshells for amending your garden. You could also use them to help your chickens' eggshell be thicker so that their eggshells aren't too thin. So there's two things you can use eggshells for. Then banana peels, well, you're already going to be eating bananas. You're going to have your coffee every morning, and that filter is made of paper, which is also And then you're gonna have your mail and your paper trash bags and whatever, and you just shred all that stuff too. Your toilet paper rolls, those are recycled paper. Totally put those in the shredder. And I see the shredder, personally, me, as a gardening tool, because I can take that paper and shred it and put it into the garden.
Yeah. Well, I agree with what Twin Acres just said. We're not meant to eat the processed food. We're really not. Our body doesn't know what to do with it.
No,
and
it doesn't.
A lot of people don't realize that when they make things fat-free or even sugar-free, what they have to add to that so that it's still edible, so that you'll eat like the taste of it to eat it. But our body doesn't know what to do with those chemicals.
Yeah. There's a few products that I thought were worth mentioning. So one guy, his name is Jay Hughes. He put out, let me take that away for a second so we can see. Okay. He put out a brand of sugar-free barbecue sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly good. I like it. My husband likes it. And hey, if your name is Jan, just pull the label off. You'll never know. Or transfer it to keep one of your old bottles and just pour it in.
Yeah, they have all kinds of sauce.
Then I also, I think I might have some, is it teriyaki or soy? I can't remember what else they have, but they had something else. Maybe it was teriyaki sauce. This right here is ketchup. So there's that. And then
because of the storm,
what kind of sweetener do you use? You were previously diabetic. So when you
I don't put any kind of sweetener in anything.
Yeah.
A lot of the recipes will say put, stevia or Truvia or like that, but I just have never really found one that I really liked.
Yeah.
And like Dave will put sugar on, like fresh strawberries. He'll put sugar on it. I don't put anything on mine. I just eat them like plain.
This one's actually a confection of sugar like you would make a dessert with. But there's one that's just for regular. But you could put this in like your coffee or your desserts and things like that. And it won't raise your glycemic level if you are diabetic. So there's multiple different kinds of this one.
Right.
They also recommend this agave syrup in like some and things like that. So that's one. I also buy stevia, the little packets sometimes. And then if you're looking for a good like chocolate,
Lily's
baking. Several
and
different.
they're good.
I do the dark chocolate because the dark chocolate. This is how Dr. Gundry says it: more bitter, more better. So if your chocolate is too bitter, then it's better for you. That's the good part. That's good for you. The polyphenols in the chocolate. So
the Lily's, they still have sugar in them, but they don't have a lot of added sugars.
I think it says it's made with. I think it says it's made with stevia. No added sugar, no artificial colors, flavors, made with stevia. Yep. So that's what I use. And, I just try, I have a grain-free cracker that I make with like tapioca flour and almond flour and stuff like that. I don't really have dairy, but that's also because I have trouble with dairy. I use like almond milk, and I even use it in baking. So hubby, one time he bought one that was vanilla. I'm like, oh, that'd be great for my shake in the morning, but not so great if I'm making something that's not meant to be sweet.
Right.
So I told him.
Hi, Angela Critters. How are you doing? She makes drool her recipes when she cooks. Yeah. I love watching it, but I'm like, I could never eat that. They all look so good.
Well, every once in a while you find a healthy recipe that's also tastes really good. And that spinach black bean enchilada, I mean, it literally, I'm going to take a little strip of paper and I'm going to put it on the menu because I have a menu on my refrigerator of
Mm-hmm.
my healthy eating plan of how I'm trying to eat. The only time I really get out of cooking is I will buy that cauliflower crust pizza
Yeah.
that they have, and it's the Cauliflower brand. I've tried a couple of other brands, but that brand is my favorite. And it's just like a small pizza. And basically, I cut it in half. So me and my hubby have 2 pieces each. And sometimes that's all we have. And other times, I might like put a salad with it, and we'll have pizza and salad.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the taste of it. But most of the time, I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking things that are, that take longer. That's the only time I get out. I give myself that one little thing, because when you get in there cooking everything from scratch, sometimes you get tired. You're like, oh, what am I making today? But always remember, you can always go to put your chicken, put your chicken thigh in there to bake, pour some barbecue sauce on it, barbecue chicken. And my
Mm-hmm.
husband just loves the smell of it. He comes in, ooh, barbecue. I smell barbecue.
Yeah. That was one thing when we were on our unplanned little trip,
Yeah.
um, trying to find things in restaurants that were on the healthier side. And you really have to read the menu, and you kind of have to even ask questions sometimes, because even, they don't maybe tell you everything that's in there. And a lot of these restaurants, too, if you ask for something, like we were at Cracker Barrel and they had a hamburger, and I wanted to get just the hamburger but not the bun. And it was the same price to get the hamburger without the bun as it was to get it with the bun. I was like,
With all
I
the
was,
people on keto, somebody else had to have asked them that question before.
yeah. And I'm like, that
They
just
should
doesn't
have had
make
a.
any
They
sense.
should have had after they've been asked that about 5 times. They should have made a price for just the patty itself.
They
So
should. They should. And then too, one of the things that we always have to do is we have to get a to-go box, because we never can eat, a lot at one time. But we may eat 4 meals off of what we would have eaten before as one meal. So I still try to get, stuff that is as good for you as I can, even when I'm in that kind of a situation. But I missed having my kitchen and being able to make my own things, because I like to have them portioned out and in the refrigerator. And
yeah,
then when I'm ready to eat it, I just grab and go.
yeah,
So it was an inconvenience to be in a hotel. A lot of people think, oh, go on vacation, stay in a hotel. It's not that much fun when you're trying to follow a weight, you know, plan,
yeah.
and you
You
can't
have to
cook.
plan. Healthy eating is a constant inconvenience because the whole world around you is eating terrible crap.
Yeah,
So you have to make a point to not eat the same thing that they're eating. Yeah, it's really hard.
it is. And even the hotel, they had the continental breakfast, which was free with the cost of the room. But they had nothing other than a little yogurt, but it wasn't a Greek yogurt and it wasn't non-fat. It was just, regular plain yogurt. But they had muffins, they had oatmeal, they had grits, they had bagels. Everything was a starch. They didn't have anything um,
Protein.
protein wise. So I mean, I was like going to the grocery store and buying things and having them in the little refrigerator in the room, because I couldn't find anything at the breakfast. That was really, they didn't even have eggs. They could at least had hard boiled eggs or scrambled eggs.
Yeah. An
Nothing.
apple. Did they have any fruit?
Once in a while they would have a banana, but they just really didn't have a good. And so when you do the little checkout thing and they ask you, was there anything that could make your stay better? I was like, yes, put some protein on your breakfast.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to eat the protein. They don't want to have to, eat the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. they're making it easy for them.
Yes, Templin Acre said healthy eating on the go can be very expensive.
Yep, healthy eating on the go.
But the way my doctor explained it to me, especially with when it comes to meat, you're not going to be able to eat very much at one time. So whatever you eat, you're going to want it to be good quality.
Yeah.
So instead of before where you would buy meat based on the price, not the quality of it, now it's like you have to look at it and say, since I'm only going to eat such a small amount, I want that to be the highest quality protein that I can get.
Yeah.
But it's more expensive, you know. But you
Yeah, it
have
is.
to think I'm not buying all the junk food and all the, stuff I used to buy, but my grocery bill is about the same because
Yeah,
I buy things
when
that are
I'm
higher.
on the fence and I'm eating right, I'm getting less groceries for the same price. But like she said, I should need less because I'm eating healthier, better quality food.
Right.
So basically, go down your day and just give like a basic breakfast, a basic lunch, and a basic dinner, just for an idea for somebody who might need help with it.
Well, I usually have two scrambled eggs for breakfast. Now, I can only eat about an egg and a half, but I have my granddaughter here and she always helps me eat my scrambled eggs. So usually that's good enough for breakfast. If we don't have scrambled eggs, then I will have the yogurt. And I've got my granddaughter eating that yogurt as well. I used to buy her the fruity, kid kind of yogurt. And I said, I'm not buying that anymore. This is what I'm buying, the big container of this good yogurt. And she eats it just as well. So we'll
Yeah,
have either
really
eggs or yogurt. Then for lunch, it really depends on if I'm home where I can cook. Then I might make, chicken or tuna salad or even have a couple hard boiled eggs or whatever. But if I'm not at home and I have to eat out somewhere, if I have to get like a hamburger, I will eat the cheese and the burger, but not the bun. And I usually can't eat a whole small burger, so I usually give that to my granddaughter as well. But I like to make crazy kind of concoctions of things. Like I'll brown up some ground turkey, and then I'll see what I have vegetable wise that I can throw in there with it. And then I may put some, like tonight I made with sweet peas, turkey sausage, and diced tomatoes. And the juice off the diced tomatoes kind of thickened up and made like the sauce for it. So I didn't have to put like a tomato sauce or something like that with it. Um, but it just really depends. I always try to have some sort of protein and some sort of vegetable. But even that, sometimes I have to eat the protein for the meal and then have the vegetable as a snack later on because I can't eat it all at one time.
Yeah.
But I definitely eat a lot of shrimp because shrimp is really good protein and it doesn't have much fat. Um, I like I like chicken breast, but now a chicken thigh is a little bit more stays juicier to me than a chicken breast will kind of dry out.
Yeah.
So I'll do the thigh more often, but I'll eat anything: ground turkey, sliced turkey, turkey sausage, turkey bacon, any of those kind of things. The one thing I haven't tried that I want to try is to get the ground turkey and try to make turkey burgers out of that.
I haven't done that. We should
I
do
haven't done that yet
we
either.
should do we should do a little private collab where we just both of us come up with a turkey burger recipe and give it a hashtag and see if we can come up with a good one.
That would be fun. Hi, Dee and Doug retired. Those are
I
some
would
new
like to do that
friends.
too. I think that would be really cool. Because you got to add a lot of flavor to turkey.
Yes.
So usually I have to sneak ground turkey in on things where my husband won't necessarily know it, like spaghetti or goulash or tacos, things like that. Or I made something the other day it was really good, but it totally had ground turkey in it. So, and he just scarfed it
Well,
up.
I like to make little mini meatloafs in the muffin tin,
Hmm.
and I love peppers and onions. And so I'll
Do
make
you make it out of turkey? Your
with the
meatloaf?
ground turkey with onions and peppers, and then I just put a little bit of cheese on the top of it, and I like those real well.
I haven't tried a meatloaf with it, but I would like to try making a hamburger with it. That'd be really neat.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you make a meatloaf, like the first time use some ground beef and some turkey, and then the next time you make it, just use the turkey. Because at first it's going to like play with your mind. You're going to be like, I really miss the beef. I could taste the beef,
Yeah.
And then you'll realize, no, if you put the right seasonings and the right vegetables in it, you're not going to be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
It's just as good. It's just a lot leaner, you
Yeah,
know.
you should do a recipe on that, like what you put in your turkey meatloaf. That'd be cool to see. I'd like
Yeah,
to.
I want to start doing more of the recipes, but like I said, I tend to make things up. I don't tend to follow a recipe, and
Yeah,
I have to kind of like go back and say to myself, okay, what did you put? Now you put this in there, and you put that in there, and then what did you do,
thank
so
you.
that I can try to recreate it? You know?
Yeah, hubby asked me one day. He was like, "Well, what do you call this soup or this dish?" And I was like, "I don't know. I call it concoction.
Yeah,
Mills concoction." And
that's
I
how.
just do that sometimes. If I don't want to go to the store, I just use what we have, and I just come up with things in my brain. I'm like, you know what? It'd be really good if I took some. I didn't have potatoes, and I really don't need potatoes, so I took the beef broth, and I washed the carrots, and I didn't even. I don't think I even. I think I washed them and cut them in chunks. I put them in there first, and then I browned some meat to put in it. I can't remember if I did that one with turkey or beef. I can't remember, but I put that in, and then I put in some kind of gravy, and then like some pasta or whatever. It was really good. He loved it. He was like, "Wow, that was good." I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, you
that's
have to be
concoction.
creative,
Yeah, that's a
and
concoction."
like for the soup challenge, I know what I'm going to make, but I
Yeah,
haven't like finalized my recipe yet. But I love soup and I eat a lot of soup. And
yeah,
that's
I
something
love
that,
soup. This time of year, I love soup.
you can do a lot with soup and not have to have a lot of the pasta or the potatoes
Oh
or
yeah,
stuff like that, and you don't really miss it if you're a
yeah,
vegetable eater. Now there's a lot of people who don't like vegetables, and then they're going to have a hard time trying to eat real healthy because you have to get those vegetables too,
yeah.
you know
Yeah.
and
Well,
that's
I'm
one
a
thing.
gardener, so I like my vegetables, but of course I probably like specific ones, and I do miss my zucchini in the winter. So that's why if I get a bunch, I shred it into 2-cup increments and put it in the freezer. And that way I could use it for different things in the winter.
Well, I know with my granddaughter, because my daughter is a very picky eater. She does not like vegetables or fruits very much at all. And so I kind of feel like I was responsible for that because when she was a baby, I didn't make it appealing enough, I guess, to get her to eat these things. So
Mhm.
with my granddaughter, since I knew I would have her when she started on solid food, I made it up, that I was going to make all the vegetables as good as I could. And that child would rather have sliced tomatoes and cucumbers than just about anything else in the world. I mean,
That's
she
great.
loves them. And when Sunday when she came, we didn't have any groceries in the house after coming back from being gone for the storm. So I said, well, we're going to go to the store and Granny will buy you whatever, you're going to eat. Cause I knew she was going to be here all 2 or 3 days for the whole time. And so we started looking, and first thing when we in the produce, she wanted the tomatoes and the cucumbers. And then I had to like say, well, you need to have some kind of protein. She was like, she'd eat a cheese stick. And, and then I was like, well, we got to have some meat, we got to have eggs and, this and that. But she just loves it. She doesn't, you know, and her mama's like, how do you get her to eat that? And I'm like, you buy it and you have it at your house and she will eat it.
Yeah.
She does. She does fine with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I never knew about how important the protein was. And I guess my daughter liked macaroni and cheese and she liked, she's not a big rice eater, but she likes pasta too. And so if she didn't care for the meat but she ate the vegetable and she ate whatever else we had with it, that was okay. I should have been making her eat the protein, but I didn't.
Yeah. I remember, hello, Norma. I remember when I was younger, my mom said, I used to say, she would be cutting my meat up for me into little pieces. And I would say to her, Mom, stop cutting my meat. Stop cutting it. You're making it too much.
Mm-hmm.
I thought because she cut it, it made it more.
Right.
Yeah, she loves to tell that story. I hope she doesn't tell that story at Pinecone Fest, or the one about where I cut my baby doll's hair right before my mom had a doctor's appointment the next day, and she had to carry all of us kids. And then my older sister Gretchen, she goes, she's wearing a hat. She's wearing a hat for a reason. She did something. And then my mom took the hat off and my hair was in different lengths. And I also took my baby doll and I gave her a haircut and I put her in the hot water heater closet. So I almost burnt the house down too. But I had that doll that had the spot, and the messed up hair, and her name was Shelly. And I had that doll, and my mom loves telling that story, how I cut my hair and I cut my baby doll's hair. And then I still love the baby doll even after I injured it.
Oh, I have one that was made in the same year I was born, 1963. And I cut her hair, almost to the scalp. I just chopped it off. And she had long eyelashes and I pulled part of her eyelashes out. And then I painted, but like with marker or something, her fingernails. I guess I thought I was giving her a manicure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But, I destroyed that poor baby doll.
Oh, no.
But I still have her. And sometimes my granddaughter will be like, because she's up in my closet. And if my granddaughter goes in the closet, she'll be freaking out, don't get the baby, don't get the baby.
Oh, wow. Yeah. My mom, I inherited my mom's doll from when she was little in it. And its face is kind of brown and it looks kind of creepy. So I used to as a joke one time, I don't remember it was me or my husband. It might have been my husband. He walked up and he put it in his daughter's bed or in his daughter's room. So when she came in there, she'd see it, Yeah, it was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Creepy doll. But she had trouble with anything animated, like if you had a little, like a little angel that sung and moved, she thought that was creepy. She didn't like anything like that.
Dee and Doug Retired said, well, you have to remember that beans have a lot of protein and so do potatoes. Now, sweet potatoes are fine. And the white potato, if you cook it and then put it in the refrigerator and then take it out and reheat it in the microwave, then the starch turns to what they call resistant starch, which isn't as bad for you. Yeah.
Oh, it's bad for you. What?
No. It isn't as bad as the regular starch. If you just eat the potato when it's first hot. It's something about cooling it and then reheating it. It makes it better. Yeah.
That's good to know. Every once in a while. We try not to eat that, but once in a while we do.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having a potato if you have like some barbecue on it, as long as you've got your a good amount of protein in there with it. Yeah. That was one of the things at the barbecue restaurant we went to. They made sweet potato tater tots. I never had seen that done before.
No, I haven't seen that. I've seen the fries.
Yeah, but tater tots.
Tater tots.
So it was. It was
I have a
interesting.
recipe. It's a plant paradox recipe where it's called broccoli tots.
Yeah.
So you take the broccoli, like a bag of steamed broccoli, and you cook it, and then you put it in the process, some kind of processor, and then you put like Parmesan cheese, and maybe some regular cheese, and a few other things, and it makes the little like tots, and they're really
Hmm.
good. And then if you want to dress them up even more, you could eat them with like guacamole, like those little packs of guacamole.
Yeah.
So, so what do they say in your book about cheese? What kind of cheese do they recommend to you?
Um, well, your like mozzarella cheese has less fat than cheddar cheese does. I don't know why that is, but it does.
Have you
And
ever
again,
heard that sharp cheese has less fat in it than mild cheese? Have you ever heard that one before?
I've not heard that, but I do know that the like your Parmesan cheese and your mozzarella cheese have less fat than the cheddar cheese does. But there again, like my doctor says, you're not going to eat half a block of cheese at a time. So get the kind of cheese that you like. If you like sharp cheddar, get sharp cheddar. If you like mozzarella, do the mozzarella. But you're only going to have a little bit of it at a time. And so it's not that much added fat. Now, a lot of people say, oh, get the fat free or the low fat or whatever. Most of those don't melt very well. And
No.
so, and then I don't know that they taste as good either. And so you're going
Yeah.
to be turned off by that and be like, well, if that's what I
I've
have to
always
have,
been
I
doing
just,
the mozzarella because of what you said, and also the sharp cheddar. I started doing the sharp cheddar. It was actually my sister-in-law that told me that sharp, because remember I said the thing about more bitter, more better.
right.
Well, sharp cheese is more bitter than mild. So maybe that stands to the fact that there's more fat in the mild, and maybe that's why it's not as bitter. So
Yeah.
more better. So
And it's also better to get the block of cheese and shred it yourself, because the shredded cheese that you buy in the store, they put stuff in it to keep it from clumping together.
ooh, yeah, that doesn't
Yeah.
sound good.
So one of them 3 feet dolls, and when my mom passed away, my grandkids seen it and scared them to death because I had cut the hair off and it didn't have a leg and an arm. Oh my
Oh
goodness. They
no.
called it the demon doll.
Wow. Old dolls just look creepy. Once they're not new anymore, they look a little creepy. That's
Dee
why they
said,
started pulling them into horror movies and stuff, because
yeah.
they do look quite creepy on their own.
Dee said, I've done every diet on the planet and she feels the same way. I mean, if you're gonna eat something, make it count. Make it be worth eating it, especially if you're craving something.
Yeah.
You can try to substitute it with other things, but if you're really just craving something, it's better to have a little tiny bit of it in moderation than it is to just deprive yourself completely, because
Yes.
it's going to stay on your mind. And weight loss is a mind game. It really doesn't have as much to do with what you're consuming. It's what you're thinking about, because as soon as you let your mind tell you this is nasty, it's nasty. You can't eat
Yeah.
something that's healthy for you unless you want to eat it and you say,
Yeah.
I'm eating this because it's healthy for my body. you know
Mhm.
and if your mind isn't there with you,
Right. That's true. That's true. If your mind's not with you. Dee says she's heard that about sharp cheese before too.
that's something I'm going to have to research, because
Yeah.
um it does sound like it makes sense that it would be.
Yeah.
And there may be some other cheeses too, Gouda or Munster or
Have
some
you
of
ever used
those.
that laughing cow cheese?
Yeah,
I've used that before.
yeah. Um, that's one thing they taught us too, is that there's hunger and then there's head hunger. And head hunger is when you just think you're hungry. You just think you want to eat something. You're not really physically hungry. And you have to, that convince yourself, okay, no, I'm not really hungry,
No.
you know. And like
Unless when you
after,
drink a glass of water, because they say sometimes you think you're hungry,
but you're
but you're
thirsty.
really thirsty. So
Yep.
go in there and drink yourself a glass of water. Sit down for a little bit and see if your hunger goes away. Maybe you were really thirsty and not hungry. So
Well, and I think too, if you might, and like my granddaughter, perfect example, she'll say, I want to eat something, I'm hungry. And I'll offer her something good. No, but she'll say, no, I want candy. Okay, well, that's not hunger. If you're really hungry, you're going to want to eat something substantial, some food. You just want a snack, so you want the candy.
yeah.
And it's the same way with grown-ups. You have to say, no, I don't need to eat those potato chips right now. You know.
Yeah, drink water. That's right. Drink water. Always drink water.
And that's another thing. When you have weight loss surgery, you have to drink like 64 ounces of water a day or more. They'd like you to have about 80 ounces. This is a 40-ounce cup, and I fill it up twice a day and try to get it all down, you know.
Yeah.
But they also want you to have 60 to 90 grams of protein a day as well.
Yeah. So here's what I've listed for my snacks. I put guacamole on there. Nuts, I put pistachios, walnuts, pecans, almonds, but the shaved almonds, supposedly, and macadamia nuts, apples, pears, and blueberries, yogurt, and I get the coconut yogurt, and dark chocolate. That's what I wrote down for. What kind of side dishes do you have? See, because I really need to expand that a little bit more. I have like broccoli, salad, and carrots. I'm like, I need something else. I don't know. I need to add something.
Well, I love Brussels sprouts.
Mm-hmm.
I love Brussels sprouts roasted in the oven. And even just like taking your root vegetables and roasting them in the oven, give them a natural sweetness. That
Yeah.
roasting process brings out a sweetness to them.
Yeah.
So like if you like carrots with honey on them or anything like that to make them a little bit sweeter, you would like roasted carrots in the oven.
I never thought about doing that. I did realize I do like raw Brussels sprouts, because there's a Cracker Barrel salad that's got Brussels sprouts in it and some of that agave syrup and like a thing that you put. And it's like kale mixed with Brussels sprouts raw, put through the processor, and then you put like cranberries and this sauce with it, and it's really good. And then remember, I'm thinking it's walnuts or pecans. I forget, but it's really good. My husband had it at Cracker Barrel, and I was like, "Oh, that looks really good. Let me try it." So I tried it, and then the waitress came, and I was like, "What is that?" And she's like, "Oh, it's a Brussels sprout kale salad." I'm like, "What? Brussels?"
And you can, and I haven't done it with the Brussels sprouts
I
because
looked it up, and it was good, and I actually have that as a recipe, copycat Cracker Barrel recipe. I looked up the recipe and made it before because
I made Parmesan smashed carrots before. And you cook your carrots first so they're a little bit, tender. And then you take like the bottom of a glass and you mash them onto the cookie sheet. And then you put Parmesan cheese on top of it, like a grated Parmesan cheese, not the sawdust kind of cheese, just the grated. And you bake them in the oven, and it ends up coming out like either really chewy, like I wanted them to be crispy, but I didn't cook them quite long enough, and mine were just a little bit chewy. But that Parmesan cheese and carrot flavor mixed together, it was fabulous.
Yeah, that's the same thing with that broccoli tots thing.
Yep.
Something about that Parmesan cheese and that shredded like that was just like it was like you were having an appetizer, and you could have that on a tray, and it gets a little crisp on it, and it's like a little almost like a tater tot hush puppy size thing, and it's really good.
Yeah. And with the waffles, you can make onion rings out of it. You can make we put pepperoni in there and made like a pizza one. You can really make anything, you can make it sweet, you can make it savory,
I've done
however,
it once.
you want to. I use the almond flour, and I also have bought some of the protein pancake mix and used it before. But of course, I always add my own scoop of the
Routine
unflavored
butter.
protein,
Mhm.
with it. But I'll eat raw vegetables. I like to keep those cut up and eat those with that protein ranch dip. Or I'll do I like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, carrots. Um, I love asparagus. Asparagus is a good one too. If you roast it in the oven, it's good.
Yeah.
So it just depends. But the one thing we don't eat very much of is like French fries or potatoes or rice or pasta. Now there are some protein pastas out and some that are made with chickpeas or lentils, and I'm
Yeah, I've
going to
tried
try
the
those.
bonza ones made from chickpeas. I've tried
Mhm.
that. And that's okay if you've got something with a sauce. But you're not going to want to eat them by themselves. By themselves, not so good. Covered
Yeah.
in spaghetti sauce, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
D, yes, my fiance Dave, he had it done about
So
5 years ago, and then I just had it done 3 months ago. Um, and I was already before I met him, I was already planning on doing it. I just hadn't got up the nerve yet to start the process, and it is a process that you have to go through, and I just hadn't pushed myself to do that. But
yeah.
like I said, when my doctor said, look, we got to do something, you're about maxed out, then I was like, well, do you think I would be a good candidate for that? And I thought because of my age that they wouldn't, want to do it. But my doctor actually does them up till you're 70.
Wow.
So as long
That's
as you're, in basically good health, other than being overweight,
yeah.
you can have the surgery done. But you have to be willing to get out and exercise and walk, and you have to change your lifestyle. You can't do the things you used to do and expect to have good results. You have to, but with having a young granddaughter, I wanted to be able to get up and move and keep up with her. And,
Yeah.
like now we walk down to the playground and we play. Before she would ask to go, and I would be like, I can't get up right now. I
I
can't do
know.
it,
I
you
know.
know.
I know.
But now I'm like, yes,
Sometimes
let's
that
go.
arthritis kicks in, and I'm like, oh, but I force myself sometimes to get out there and do the things I need to do because it can be, you can let yourself just sit there if you can convince yourself to sit there, but it's not always good for you. What kind of oils do you use when you're cooking?
I like either olive oil or like avocado oil.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that. And the only one I would add to that would be coconut oil. And I mostly use the coconut oil when I'm making a dessert because
Hmm.
something about the coconut oil has a little sweet background flavor and it's really good with desserts. Like if you're making some kind of low fat muffin, it gives it just a little extra kick for like a carrot cake muffin that you're making healthy. And so I like that. I
I'm
was just
trying to get
comparing.
pulled
And
up on
on
my
you
laptop.
did
I
say
lost
on your
my
meats,
so
sorry, you did say on your meats you mostly eat turkey and
turkey,
shrimp.
chicken, fish.
Mhm. What
I
kind of
don't
fish
eat a
do you
whole
eat?
lot of red meat. I don't I don't eat pork. Very rarely do I eat any pork. Um,
Did you eat it before?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
that's one of the things you gave up was pork and red beef.
Yeah, I don't really even know why I don't like the pork now, because they say pork is the other white meat. So, you can get lean cuts of pork as well. But when I think of pork, I want bacon. you know.
So you're
So,
like, if I'm gonna eat it, I might as well have bacon, right?
right. If I can't have the bacon, then,
Yeah.
probably don't really want it.
Yeah.
I've tried the turkey bacon. And to me, I would rather not have bacon than to have the turkey bacon, because it definitely does not taste
Like
as
bacon.
good. No.
No.
So
I could
I
see
would rather do without. Okay, there we go. Uh, and I like barbecue chicken. And like you were saying, you can do it and shred it up and put your barbecue sauce on it.
Mhm.
To me, it's just as good as having the barbecue pork is. It just really depends on what I'm in the mood for. I don't try to buy a whole lot up ahead, because my mood might change from one week to the next of what I want to try or what I want to have.
Yeah.
Um, but then a lot of times I want to make something, and I had bought this lavish bread, which is like a really thin flatbread type thing. And that I had saw a recipe where you can make crackers out of it. And I had it laying there on the counter, and I kept saying, I've got to make my crackers. I've got to make my crackers. So the day I decided I'm going to make the crackers, I opened it up and it had started to mold on the inside of it. And I was like, well, and I had been looking for that in the grocery stores for months and couldn't find it anywhere, and finally found it that one time. So now I have to try to remember where I found it at so I
When
can
you
go.
do it, you gotta like make a point to do it that day or like
Yeah,
the next day, and so you
yeah.
can do that again. So I have one that I make that's like a grain-free cracker. And so I make it up for meals, but this one I made up just like at lunch. If I want to have it, I'll just put it in a bowl and add a little bit of water till I get it to the consistency I want it.
Hmm.
And I'll put it on a cookie sheet like a cracker. And then I'll put a little bit of poppy seed and a little bit of sesame seed on top of it and cook it. And it's like a cracker, and it gets crisp on the edge. And then if you don't want to have it just plain, you could always dip it in some guacamole and eat it, have
Yeah.
like a little snack. But so I have that. I made that up for lunches. So also prepping up your stuff that you're going to eat. I went through a phase, and I haven't done this lately, but I went
Good
through a
night,
phase where
Walter.
I took a whole thing of chicken thighs, and then I cut them off the bone, and I cut them in little bite-sized pieces, and I put them in little bowls. So this one here is going to be like a taco fajita flavor, and this one's going to be like a barbecue flavor, and then I can't remember what the third one was that I did, and then I would just put a little bit of that, and then I would have chopped up onion and bell pepper, and then when it came time for lunch, I would do the vegetables first, then anyway,
Mm.
I would cook one or the other first, and then I would put it all together, and it would be hot, and I would have like one or two little like fajita type things, and I would have that for lunch, and it was really good. It felt like you were really having something. And if
Yeah.
you prep it all like on Sunday or Monday, you can eat on it for the week. And then if it's already seasoned with something, if say one day you decide you're going to have a Caesar salad, you could always, cook that in a pan and put that on top of your Caesar salad too, because it's already kind of prepped with a little seasoning on it. So
And prepping is the key,
yeah,
because you don't want to be hungry looking at the refrigerator saying, what can I eat?
what can I find? Yeah.
Right.
And
You
that's the
have
other
to have
thing. Don't
stuff.
keep the things you need. If you don't need it, you should like get rid of it, because
Yeah.
it'll be there as your temptation. So keep the things you need. So I keep uh, a square of the dark chocolate in the freezer.
Hmm.
And then when I'm craving chocolate, I walk up to the freezer, and it's like I think it's like 8 pieces. I get a block of it and I eat it, and it's cold. And I eat
Hmm.
that, and that hopefully takes the craving away.
Right.
I have yogurt in there, and I have an apple in there, and I might have pistachios somewhere. And I'm trying to keep the things I need so that I don't eat the things I shouldn't eat. So
Right.
I'm trying.
It does take time to cook whatever it is you're going to have. And so sometimes I'll even do where, I'll make the ground turkey up ahead, and then I'll take and season some of it, one way, or I'm going to save it the other to do something else with, or whatever like that. And two, when I buy a pack of meat, I usually take it apart and package it in smaller packages,
Yeah.
before I put it in the freezer, so that if I just want to do one chicken breast, I can do that without having to thaw out, a whole package of
Yeah.
meat.
Yeah.
So it'll depend on, what I've got planned for the next couple of days. I might think, well, go ahead and make, more than one chicken breast, because you might want to make some chicken salad out of it, or you might
Yeah.
want to have, put some barbecue sauce on it and have a barbecue chicken sandwich or something like that, So
Yeah.
it just really depends on what I'm doing. But I usually always have something in there. Like I have right now, some sliced turkey. It's about yay thick. It's like, looks like turkey you would have sliced off your Thanksgiving turkey. And it just came in a package, and there's probably 6 or 8 slices in there. The only thing I didn't like about it is it does have some sort of seasoning on it that was a little bit spicy for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very good that you can just pop it out. You can heat it up or eat it cold, however you want to do.
Yep.
But I think we add so much to our food that we don't really need.
Yeah, yeah, but
You
now
know,
our brain's telling us we need it. We have to have it. And so then we don't have it. Then our brain's saying we don't like this. When I'm sure
well,
it tastes perfectly good.
when
So
I first had,
that's
go ahead.
one thing that I do because I take a cup, and the first thing I do is I get an egg, and I get a fork, and I beat the egg up. I put a little bit of vanilla and like a tablespoon of almond flour and a tablespoon of coconut flour, something like that. And then maybe a little bit of baking soda, I think it is, and then some cocoa, and make like a chocolate cake. And you have to be sure first you do the egg, then make sure you mix everything really well. Because if it
Mhm.
doesn't mix well, it's not going to be good. You put that in the microwave for a minute, and you have yourself cake in a cup. I have the
Yeah.
recipe. I have it on my healthy playlist if you guys want to figure out. And you could do it not chocolate too if you don't like chocolate. You could maybe add, in place of the cocoa, you could add like a little cinnamon, maybe a little bit of nutmeg or something like that. So yeah, cake in a cup. That might help that craving for something sweet.
Right. When I first had the Val, I've lost 55 pounds. I'm kind of in that 3 month stall right now. But then again, we had the
You're
big C
displaced.
virus, which didn't
So that's
help. And then now, with being in the hotel for a week, I'm sure I'm full of fluid because of the salt, on things that I did eat. So I'm going to have to be real careful the next few weeks and try to get it, back going again. But I was going to say that when I first had the surgery, you have to weigh everything because you're only eating like 2 ounces at a time. Well, after you've done that for a month or so, you think, oh, I can tell how much 2 ounces is. And you'll be serving up your food, and then you'll go to eat it, and it'll be too much food for you. And so it's like, I still, even 3 months out, I still try to weigh it out so that I'm not going to overeat whatever it is I'm eating, because I could sit there and wait a little while and then eat some more, you know. But your eyes play tricks on you. They think, oh, that's not enough food. Let me have some more, And it's the same thing with when you're trying to diet. You're, especially if you're doing it to where you are feeling hungry, you know. And then when you go to eat something, you're going to be like, yeah, I need a little more of that. That's not enough. And it's easy to overeat, even healthy food.
Yeah, she's right on the condiments. You're also adding calories with your condiments. So
Yes.
I've always been kind of a light dipper. Now my husband, he will smother it with all kinds of stuff. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm like, I dip a little, dip a little, dip a little. He's not like that at all. Even my mayo, if I have a sandwich, I just want a little bit.
She's a
Hi.
I'm a dainty dipper. See, I really am a dainty dipper. Where he is just like, just throw the whole thing on there. Just,
Yeah.
yeah. Ugh. I want to taste my food, enhance it, but not cover it with a bunch of stuff.
That's one thing living down here in South Georgia. People put hot sauce on everything.
Mm-mm. No,
He loves hot sauce.
he likes hot
I
sauce.
do not do hot or spicy.
Yeah,
So
no.
I don't want hot sauce on my food, but I've actually cooked before and had people over for dinner, and they have brought their own bottle of hot sauce because they know I'm not going to have hot sauce for them. And then they sit there and they don't even taste the food. They just dump that hot sauce all over it. And I'm like, okay, why did I bother cooking for you? You're not even going to taste
You're
my
not even
food.
gonna taste the
You're,
food. Yeah,
you're just tasting the hot sauce.
yeah.
Sugar-free chocolate and sugar-free barbecue sauce. Yes, that line you showed, the J.
J. Hughes brand. Yeah.
Hughes, yeah. I was looking into all of their sauces because I'm going to have to replace, everything that was in our refrigerator. And I said, since I'm going
Costs
to
a
have to
little
replace
more,
it, I'll buy the sugar-free ones.
but I like it, and it's
Yeah.
good. And why not have it there for your granddaughter too? So
Yeah.
that way, and when other people are here, they're eating the healthy stuff too, and they don't really, know what they are.
That's right.
Yeah.
She said she loves how it always ends up on the topic of condiments. Yeah.
Spices. I do like spices, but not. I like pepper. I like when you're cooking your food and you put some pepper in things. I like that, but I don't ever add pepper after stuff is cooked. Like some people, they're like somebody. I was watching their recipe and they were just like all this pepper, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of pepper. The only thing I want a lot of pepper in is gravy. Like a good old peppered gravy is pretty good. But any amount of pepper can be overdone, in my opinion. But I have tried to cut back on the salt, and I notice it. If we go out to eat, which we don't do very often, but when we do, I can totally taste the salt in the food. I'm like, ooh, I know they're oversalting things because they don't taste things like this. Don't taste that way at home. I don't put that much salt in it and everything.
And if I go to like Longhorns or Texas Roadhouse or any of those steak to what?
Wendy's.
Okay. I always tell them cook my steak without the seasoning because whatever the seasoning rub is that they put on the steaks, it's too spicy for me. I don't know if it's just too much pepper or if it's got some cayenne in it or what it is, but I'm like, I can't eat it.
Yeah, I have gotten it a couple of times there where it was a little much. Most of the time it's okay, but every once in a while, maybe they rubbed in that spot just a little too long. But yeah, I've noticed that too. And then fries. If you ever were to want to eat any fries, they're running me off of fries. I used to love fries. Now I try to eat fries and I'm like, ooh, the salt. It's killing me here. It's killing me.
Well, they say your taste buds change after a while. If you're not eating a lot of salt, then even just a normal amount of salt will taste too salty.
Yeah.
And I feel like with a lot of the processed foods, it's just kind of the same way. The taste of it changes too. Yeah, Val has been on the carnivore diet, and since last September, she's lost like 79 pounds.
Wow.
So she's doing really good on that diet.
Carnivore, that's like eating meat, and more meat, right?
Yeah. She does eat a little bit of, she makes homemade tortillas and she'll eat a little bit of vegetables and the tortillas with the meat. But when she first started, she strictly ate meat. She has a really great recipe for meat soup. Doesn't sound that appealing, but the way she made it, I was like, I'm going to make meat soup. It was really,
That's
really
cool.
good. I don't even remember what all meats she had in there, but it was really good.
Bushcraft
Really
family
good
said,
looking
"Cayenne
recipe.
pepper isn't hot." No veggies
Oh, she corrected me. She said no veggies. She doesn't eat the veggies.
and veg, right?
She said I only eat meat, bacon, butter, and eggs. And she's lost 79 pounds in a year. Oh, she was saying no vegetables, no sugar, very little carbs. Okay.
Yeah.
Misread what she said.
That's interesting. Well, it's so so I wanted Echo to come up and talk about the kinds of things she eats, and I thought I'd throw some of mine. Mine's mostly plant paradox related stuff. And of course, I'm falling off one side of the fence and the other, as you can tell from my schizophrenic videos, healthy, not healthy, healthy, not healthy. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm trying. It's really hard, the stress level. So, anybody out there in the chat that believes in God and who prays, I would like for y'all to pray for Heather with Milk and Honey Heritage Farms, because she flew into Florida, and of course you know what's happening in Florida right now. So please say a prayer for her, just for her safety and her family's safety. So that gives me, but anyway, I said a prayer, and I'm going to have you guys prayer to be her prayer warriors. I don't know exactly when the new storm is going to hit. Hurricane.
Sometime Wednesday, I believe. Wednesday night or Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So please say a prayer for Heather. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. It's going to be another rough storm for the people of Florida, for sure. Hopefully it won't be as widespread as the last one was.
I hope not. Today I listened to Andale Homestead talk about them bringing in some supplies into North Carolina. And I posted a couple of things on my community tab. If anybody has money and wants to find a place to donate, I have a couple of pieces of information on my community tab. I posted a list of churches there. And then I took the time to pick one church off the list. I Googled their address, looked for their address, and posted the address. So I don't think they're taking anything for October, because they're, the mail and all this stuff. But starting about November, they're going to still need things for all those people. So if you could get a box together of like toiletries, beanies, gloves, scarves, coat, a blanket, anything to keep them warm because it's starting to get cool there, that would be awesome. Stuff like that. So
did you happen to hear about the 6 people they found alive in a church?
No.
Here in North Carolina?
No.
I guess when the storm was coming, they went to the church and stayed in the church. And when they were found, I think they hadn't eaten. They may have had something to drink, probably, but it was like a miracle that they even survived while they were in that church. So I'm sure the Lord had his hand on them.
Oh, yeah. They were meant to live.
Mm-hmm.
They were totally meant to live. So my city is taking donations and is planning to have a drive mid-November. That's cool. Yeah. My church, they mentioned Sunday that they took some money from one of our accounts, whichever one, and sent some money over there. So my church has done that. But I'm going to try to get together some kind of care package to send over in November. So they're wanting it for November, not for October, because right now everything's just like, flooded, hot mess, and the places that are overrun with stuff, and they can't get cars down roads, and they're having to use mules and all this stuff to get supplies in to these people. So the supplies are going out slowly to these people. Mm-hmm. Specifically taking loads to each family, I guess.
I know they were calling for people that had 4-wheelers or horses or anything like that, because where they live up in the mountains, you can't get a car up there.
Mm-hmm.
So they really are going to need
slowing
that
us down a little bit. And they're telling us, but there's a list of about 6 or 7 churches in North Carolina. It's on my community tab. I just Googled one, but you can Google the rest of them and find real easily their address and start getting it ready before November. They don't want anything too soon because of the overrunness. But by then they'll still need stuff, because imagine they're probably missing everything, really. You know what I mean? So I'll probably just go into my ministry closet and just, dump a box and stuff in there.
Well, and if you want to,
I have a lot of that stuff already. The stuff that
if you want to donate money to a charity, I've heard that the Samaritan's Purse is a really good organization, and that the money actually will be getting to the people that need it, not like some of these other organizations that the employees get large salaries, and that much actually gets to the people that it's meant to help. So just be cautious if you are going to donate money somewhere, that that it's going to be used for what it's intended for.
Yeah. My the 7 that are on my community tab were ones that Andale Homestead, one of them is her church, and one of them is churches that her church knows, I guess. So those churches are all checked out and they're all okay. So just so you know, if you want to go there, that's a place. What you might do, Echo, is that one you're talking about, put that one on your community tab, because you guys, that if you have the money and you want somewhere to donate, we're all trying to put on our community tabs places where you can go and donate things. So please get in touch with us and we'll get you in with some churches and some foundations that are vetted and reputable, and we'll use your money wisely for these people. So. Right.
Because they need help. Total devastation.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean,
it's terrible.
You watch some of the videos, from that area, and it's just heartbreaking.
I haven't watched any videos.
You haven't?
I'll be bawling like a baby.
Oh yeah, well I do anyway, but that's my daughter.
Was from Anne, because she was really calm when she was talking about it, because like big bits of information. Okay, like I have some serious empathy. Like it could really mess me up. You know what I'm saying? So I've purposely kind of held back a little bit on listening, because I was afraid it was really going to just hurt me, right? I heard what you said, and I heard what my friend Andale Homestead said. But other than that, I haven't really heard a lot, and a little bit in groups, but that just small amounts. Yeah. Because if I heard too much, I'd be curled up in a ball on the floor. So I just have to take little bits at a time.
Well, I'm the kind of person that I try to figure out, what can I do? And my daughter's a school teacher, and she'll tell me about some of the kids and the things that they need or don't have. Yeah. And I'm like, find out the size shoes or whatever. I don't have a whole lot of money, but maybe I can find them on clearance somewhere or something, and pick them up a jacket or pick them up a pair of shoes or whatever.
If everybody could do just 1 or 2 or 3 little things, that would make a difference to some people.
Yeah, it would. It really would.
Just if you don't have a lot of money, just do one thing. Maybe you can do one little bit now and one little bit here and one little bit here, and maybe some people that have a lot of money and they could just, throw a bunch of money on something, and that's great. And that's why we talk about it, because maybe somebody out there wants a place and somebody to help, and it makes you feel good about yourself when you help other people, because the news is not really getting, I don't hear the news, but they're saying the news is not really doing it justice, because there's people way on the other side that don't even know this stuff is happening, because somebody's talking to somebody over here, and these people over here in these other states don't even know it's happening. How do they not even know? How did they not even hear that? So that just blows my mind that someone hadn't even heard about it. I'm like, what? I've heard about it, but I've kind of stayed back a little bit.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, when I heard that they were suspending any kind of rescue effort on ground because it was so dangerous to the rescue workers, that they were only doing rescues by air, helicopters or whatever. That just broke my heart. Because what if somebody is waiting, for somebody to come and rescue them, and they're not, coming?
Yeah.
So it's got to be just absolutely a devastating thing. And my heart goes out for the people that can't get a hold of their relatives that live there.
Oh gosh, that would just, ooh, I can't even imagine.
Because they don't even know the situation.
No, they don't even know if they're okay or not.
No,
And
they
it
just
could
don't
be
have any way to let them know.
they're fine. It could be they're fine. They're at the church. They're up in the attic of the house. It could be fine, but we don't know. We don't know if it's fine. So we're just going to continue to worry until we don't know. Hopefully they have a central location where people can call and check on family members, like they got to have a system, some kind of system.
Yeah, well, and the ones that can get the word out to say I'm safe, but there's a lot of ones that can't even, get a word out to anybody, like those 6 people in the church. They didn't have any way to contact anybody, and how somebody finally decided to go look in the church, I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, I want to know more of that story.
Maybe the Lord led them there because he wanted them to be
Those
found.
people found, yeah.
He wanted those people found. So he made it happen. He's like, okay, well, they can make it for this long, so let them help them, and then we'll come back and get these people right here. So he's got it all planned out the way he can see the big picture that I can't see. One thing that my minister said, I'm going to say right before I leave here, is that all these tragedies and these things that are happening in the world right now are kind of the beginning of the starting of the things that we don't like to talk about.
Right.
So I'm sitting in my kitchen here one day, and I start to feel the house move. What is that? Why is the house moving? What in the world? Never in my life had I felt that before. It was an earthquake in Texas. I mean, I've heard about them before, but I didn't know. I didn't even know what it felt like. It was the creepiest feeling. It felt like someone shaking the house. And I have never been so terrified. It was like, but it went away quickly. So the feeling kind of subsided. But I was sitting here by myself going, what was that? Was that a hurricane? Was that an earthquake? But all these things are predicted in the Bible to happen. So these crazy hurricanes in places where they don't usually happen, these things are predicted. These are, and that I'm just going to throw that out there before we leave. I'm going to just throw that bomb in the air right before we leave there. So there's that. Anyway, they said that. My preacher said that, and it made a lot of sense to me. So I thought I would repeat it. So thank you for coming on with me today.
Well, thank you for asking me. I had a great time, and Gail's going to come be on my channel next Thursday at 1:00. And we haven't even talked about what we're going to talk about. So there's no telling what we might talk about.
Telling. Awesome. Yeah, we'll have to throw some subjects around, I guess.
Yeah, we will.
Very cool. And then you're going to be on my channel another day. So that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
So we've got a few plans going on. So if you're not subscribed to Echo with Living My Best Life at 60, I have her link pinned to the top of the chat. And if I have a moderator in here, if you guys could put up her link real quick before we leave here, that would be awesome.
And thank you to all the people that tuned in on my side. I appreciate y'all so much. I didn't even think about trying to schedule anything to let y'all know. I like to do mine scheduled ahead of time, let people know. Yeah. And I was like, then when Gail said, well, you can stream it on your channel. I was like, oh, I forgot about that.
So Jamie put it up for Echo.
Okay.
So this is Echo, Living My Best Life at 60. Go by and check out her channel. Put a couple of videos in your watch later list so your connection with her will stick.
That's right.
Like her inspirational quotes, talking about healthy living. She does some really cool games on her lives and stuff. So go check out her channel and see what you can learn from her. and she's really cool. I think you will like her. So thank you guys for coming in and watching us today. Thank you, Echo, for coming up, and thank you, hubby, in the background, for giving her to me for an hour and a half.
Yeah, he's like, "Are you done?"
Yeah, we're done. We're done.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming
Bye.
in. Bye.